Welcome to another episode of Demystifying Gay Porn. I am your host, IK Grande. And in the past 12 years, if you watch porn, I've definitely helped you get off. I want to introduce my guest today. He is a former military man. He is a porn star who's worked with a lot of different companies. And he's got a Just for Fans page?
Yeah. Just for Fans, Atlas Grant.
Just for Fans, do you have OnlyFans or?
And I do have OnlyFans, Atlas Grant, and I have a Raw Fuck Club page too.
Okay. So without further ado, please welcome Atlas Grant.
Hey guys, what's up? On Black Party.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to work for them ever again because that was supposedly the last one.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
They say that every year.
Yeah.
But I didn't enjoy this year either.
It was a change of venue too, right? They don't usually do it.
It's in the Bronx. It was a trip, and I took a shuttle bus from Metro Bar in Brooklyn all the way there.
Oh,
and
geez.
it was a hassle.
You were at the same party I was. I think I actually saw you for a second.
Like,
however, yeah,
that much time.
I was going through it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. The technicalities or the technical stuff that they want you to do in the middle of thousands of people with wires, like none of it was going to be a safe environment for anybody.
It was. I had a panic attack. That's why I had to leave.
Really?
It was one of the dark rooms. It was covered in plastic sheets, and there was no ventilation, and it was just bodies on top of bodies. It was hot for a little bit. It was like good hot, but then I was like, can't be in here. I need to fucking leave.
Yeah.
It was way too much.
So you are a porn star who you're a freelance porn star, right? You don't have an agent.
I do have an agent.
Okay.
I belong to Fab Scout, but I'm non-exclusive.
Okay.
But I like to talk and communicate and meet with people. So that's why I chose not to be exclusive, just because I like having my relationships with certain studios like Champ Robinson or Bear Films, or if I work for the Begging Bros company, or Bait Bus, or even I like having those relationships because sometimes it's better. I know exactly what's going on. Sometimes messages get messed up with the agents. But
what about so you started your Just for Fans page. What's it like now being a producer too?
Oh, fuck. It's a lot of hard work because you have to, now you're doing everything. So you're wrangling people to work with. You're making sure they show up on time. You're making sure you're ready. You're making sure the light's ready. Camera angles, whether or not someone doesn't want their belly showing too much, especially if you're filming bear porn.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I was assistant directing. I was a cameraman too for Bear Films, Harry and Raw Bareback, that whole for a little bit. After that, I have complete appreciation. Never be a problematic model. Yeah. Just because it's so much work. Just because you wake up so early preparing for your set, making sure the cameras are working, doing all the tests and light tests, and making sure all the memory cards are formatted. And then the models don't show up, or if they show up, they're late. And then you're like, I'm hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet. Yeah. And then you have the second scene coming up. So it's like complete respect for people who are directing and being on the production side.
I've gotten to the point where if I have 2 shoots, 3 shoots, whatever, I pretty much set myself for not eating. Because I feel like it weighs me down on top of that. So, but if I do get hungry, I'm like, it's all right, I can eat later. And when I do, I pig out. I'll have a nice
so
big
angry,
meal.
Though.
Yeah.
You're like,
no, yeah. I definitely get hangry about
we had one model show up 2 hours late, and then when he showed up late, he needed to do his makeup, and then he did Trimex, and then he had so many rules about his penis with Trimex, and he was a bottom, so we're like, we don't have to worry about this. I was like, whatever it is, we're gonna do some movie magic to make it. Yeah. But I was like, get it in post, as they always say. Yes, and I was like, it was supposed to start at 2, and we ended up starting at 7, and then we had to push the third shoot to 8 or 9 o'clock. It was horrible.
So now, when did you start doing porn?
July 1st, 2017.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you're fresh.
Yeah, I've been trying to do as much as possible because I know the average lifespan isn't that long for a model. So I'm like,
yeah, but you already have production experience.
Yeah, I want to do more. Right now, the company I was working for, they're shooting in Europe, and I have family here, and I have a boyfriend and my roommates and my pets and my friends, so I can't just disappear for a few months and then come back. But yeah, I would like to explore it more. It's a lot more fun working with the lights, and you pick up different things from different directors. Yeah. They're some directors like shining the lights up to reflect off the ceilings. That way, also light balancing when you're working with models of different colors. So it's I did a shoot, one of my first shoots. I worked for a studio in Florida. I looked yellow, and the other model looked alabaster, and I was like, yes.
Interesting.
So I'm learning.
Yeah. What? Let's talk about where you grew up. You grew up in.
I grew up in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, before it blew up, and then I saw the whole gentrification and like it becoming a hipster town.
How did that make you feel?
Going from paying like $1 or 75 cents for water to paying $5 for the same bottle.
Yeah.
And then all my neighbors completely moved. My family, luckily, they bought their house in the 50s, so they owned it. If we didn't own it, if we didn't own that house, we would not be living there. We would not be welcome.
Yeah. They still own it, right?
Yeah, they still
good.
own it.
That's a nice little investment there.
It's completely empty. No one uses it. They live in Texas now, and they're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing. You don't want to be in Brooklyn.
Oh, I'm in Bushwick now, but I took a hiatus and I lived in Jersey and South Amboy for a little bit, and
What brought you there?
I fell in love. I dropped out of college. I fell in love with someone. I dropped out of college, and I was pretty much like a house husband, just doing laundry, cooking, and cleaning, and taking care of my cats. And it was horrible because I don't know how to drive.
Yeah, you need to.
So if you have to take like New Jersey Transit,
Yeah.
horrible. And the gays there kind of suck. No, they're all closet cases who drive Honda Civics and have mommy issues. Like,
It's okay.
if you go to the shore and you hook up with the shore gays, they all have girlfriends, wives, kids.
Yeah.
And they're all like DL, and their profiles all headless torsos.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see why you'd get that.
Yeah. I was over it. The second I started going back to New York, I was like, oh, there's a face attached to your torso. And you don't drive a Honda Civic, and don't talk about your Honda Civic 24 hours a day.
What has been the best studio experience that you've had for you to work with, like in the 2 years that you've been in the industry?
Studio experience, like, I could say, like, showing up on time, the director's on time, like that kind of stuff.
Or how they've treated you. If
I've been very lucky, and I haven't been treated horrible by a studio, really. I mean, I worked for a studio that was bad in Florida, but it's because they freelanced their directors. It wasn't the studio's fault. They freelanced a director, and the director was straight, and he had no idea what gay sex entails. Like, if your call time's at 10 a.m., the bottom's going to be ready for 10 a.m. That douche is going to hold up for a short amount, like a
lifespan
of time. Yeah,
douche lifespan.
So they're straight directors. They're used to shooting straight porn, and they don't know that if the call time, the bottom will be ready. And I was working with Phoenix Fellington, who is a really good friend, and I love him to death. And
he's a big guy.
We've been dying to hang out. Yes, he's huge, but also he's like super nice, super sweet, and he was ready. But the shoot didn't start till like around 2 or 3 p.m. Because they were setting. It was like we were in a place called Monkey Jungle, and we were filming, and I'm like driving an ATV. And it was like 4 hours of B-roll, and then only like actual 15-20 minutes of sex was filmed. But like I passed out blowing him. Like I was dehydrated. There was no running water.
Yeah.
I couldn't re-douche. So thank God my douche held up. Imodium's a fucking godsend. But,
is that part of your process?
Yeah,
Imodium?
It's Metamucil every day and Imodium for shoots. But luckily I was clean enough and I was perfect, and I took Phoenix's dick, surprisingly. But that's a rarity. Like most of the times the studios I work for are run by like gay men, and they're completely understanding. They understand that sometimes dicks go soft, sometimes you need to redouche, you need to touch up. So I'm lucky because I know I've heard of horror stories and like people having really shitty situations where like directors try to like force themselves on people. A friend posted something on Facebook about like a director trying to like ask for audition tapes and then ask for an audition before the scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, never happened to me. Most of the time, all the directors are completely chill, and I just end up talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've had great. I mean, I've worked with Champ. I have a very good relationship. I've worked with Bear Films, Harry and Raw. I'm really close to the director, Tony Banks.
Okay.
Or Jay Banks, whatever name he's going by. He goes by like both. But he was actually my mentor, and he taught me, and he scooped me out. So, but yeah, most of the studios I work for are great. No shitty stories. Everyone's been pretty chill.
Well, that's good. Then I don't have to ask that next question.
Yeah.
Which was, what was your worst studio?
My worst studio was actually a straight studio, and it's owned by one of the mega corporations.
Okay.
And if I say anything bad, I won't ever get to work for them again.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say anything bad either. I don't know who they are or which one it is, but I have a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
And their grip
Yes,
is
it's a
threatening.
very strong grip. And right now, because I have my little porn family, some of them are starting out, and they've lucked out with great deals with that company. So I'm like, they're a great company. They're definitely they're gonna throw you into the stratosphere. You're gonna be a big star way quicker than anyone I know. So
You are a Marine, a former Marine.
yeah, I was an 1812 tanker crewman, and I worked with the M1A1 Abrams. I was a driver, loader, gunner. Never made it to tank commander, and then for my last deployment, my company was really like gung ho, and they wanted to like go deploy again, so they changed our job, and I became a dog handler, so to sniff out like IEDs and like bombs. And
So you were on tour.
I did a couple deployments. I did Iraq, Afghanistan, and then I did a training one in Australia.
Okay.
It's fun.
How long was your military career?
4 years, 2 months.
Nice.
Active duty, and then 3 years, 8 months, 3 years.
Do you attribute your military career to your punctuality and?
Yes, it definitely changed my life. I'm always scared of being late. That's why I don't rely on public transportation. I'm like always like I live in Brooklyn, so the L train's down. I know for a fact it's down. So I actually walk outside of my way to go catch a different train to get me someplace. I like to be at least 15 to 25 minutes early.
That's cool. That's appreciated,
Yeah.
especially for like work and stuff. It's definitely appreciated.
It's my way of life now. Like I get really anxious now when people in my life are like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll make it on time." I'm like, "No, I don't want to be on time. I want to be early so that way I'm situated and I know what I'm doing."
I am one of those people who is probably 20 to 25 minutes late for parties and stuff like that.
It's
and
fine.
you know,
But I'll get anxiety and I'll be bothering you the whole time, texting you like, "What are you doing?"
I know. I can imagine.
I'm standing here alone.
So now, we'll get into your family because I know you have a house of Grant and
Yes.
stuff. But
It's ridiculous.
who is your favorite bottom that you've worked with in the industry, or just somebody that you've seen and you're like, oh, you know, this guy's hot. I really want to work with him.
Working wise, like initially in the beginning, when I didn't have a lot of experience and I didn't work with anybody yet, I remember I'm actually going to be working with this person soon, but I used to watch a lot of Raw Fuck Club videos, and Brian Bonds he was always the bottom in the group in the scenes, and then he was actually the director for the studio I started one of my first studios. He was the assistant director and the cameraman too. And my scene partner canceled on me, or he canceled in general. So the company just threw Brian in. This was like 2 years ago, and he was like working with them consistently. I was like, I jerk off to your scene all the time.
I'm curious as to which scene it was because I probably directed it.
It was definitely in Florida. I think John Galt was in it, and
I didn't direct it. That was Nick Moretti.
yeah,
Yeah.
That was,
Good
back
scene.
when he was in.
Yes,
when
he was
doing it.
with Fort Lauderdale.
But yeah, there was like, you know how like, you have your tab saved? It was like one of my saved tabs. And then I finally saw him, and we smoked a little bit of weed, and I was like, oh, it's you. And he's probably because like starting and like actually like watched his videos, he was one of my favorite tops and favorite bottoms to work with initially because he was the most reliable person. This dude was
He's a good guy.
He was the cameraman for the first scene. He acted in the second scene, did the camera work for the third scene, and like helped doing the editing after. And I was like super impressed.
Good for him. So you would say he's your favorite top and favorite bottom, or do you have?
Well, he's my like favorite top because his dick's very blunt too. But
What do you mean by blunt?
it's like it's very straight, and it's very like he fucks very hard. He kind of like And favorite bottom, I would say, shit. I worked with a lot of great bottoms. Dev Tyler was great.
Dev Tyler was great. That was a good scene.
Open, very flexible, and I was able to put his freaking feet behind his head.
Yeah.
That was freaking awesome. And sometimes I know because I'm tight. Like I don't know why I'm always tight. And when I meet a tight bottom and it pulls my foreskin back, sometimes it's painful.
Yeah.
Nope. Totally good. Good to go. He was great. And I've been also jerking off to him for a while because he's been having sex with all my friends in Portland. Like, friends with this guy named John Thomas. He's a porn actor. He does a lot of bear porn. I've watched that video like 3 or 4 times with Dev Tyler and John Thomas together.
Nice. I think that's really cool though too. When you see somebody,
Yeah.
you've jerked off to them, and you're like, oh god, I'm going to be working with this person.
Yeah,
now.
that's like that's why porn's so surreal. It's like you don't meet these. You never met these people. You haven't talked to them yet. Maybe like through Twitter or like Instagram or Scruff, and then finally the porn world brings you together.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like sometimes it's awkward and sometimes it's just fluid. It's like you could just continue the conversation from where you picked off online. And then sometimes it's like I've been talking to you for a long time and I'm jerking off to you. So it's kind of weird.
So now who's been, you know what's coming.
Oh God, not worse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and again, and I've said it in every podcast that I do, it's not trying to be shady, not trying to be anything. It's just more, look, if you've had a bad experience with a studio, with a person, I think honestly, there's no room. I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to be hateful or anything. It's one of those things where you reflect, right? And if the person hears this and probably hears it a good amount of times, he's probably, okay, well, the problem's probably me.
No, okay. So it's normally what makes it bad is like the bottom's not bad. It's anatomy wise, like sometimes a dick and a hole don't match up. There was a guy named J.W. Bear, one of my like first few scenes I did. The anatomy did not line up. So I remember I was on my tippy toes because he was a little bit older. He had a bad back, bad knees. So his posture wasn't great. So he was really high up and taller than me. So I remember being on my tippy toes tapping. And it was like on a long wooden table. And I'm like trying to make it work. And then he actually got bloody. So we had to stop a few times. But that's expected, especially if someone's douching too much with a power douche and it's metal.
Oh, God, yeah.
Sometimes it messes up the membrane and it makes
it'll pierce.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a really, really good way to put it, actually. The anatomically, it doesn't work. Because that's a majority of why I've had issues with. Like I have my favorite bottoms and my least favorite people to work with. Yeah. And a lot of times it's really how you arc, how you do a certain amount of. One
of my other favorite tops is Mark Giacomo. I have sex with him on a regular basis in New York. Our anatomies don't match up, but we make it work.
Well, you've learned. You've gotten into the groove.
I know exactly how his penis curves. I know exactly how to freaking arch my back for him or what position's better for it to work out. He's a good guy, and we relate on a lot of things because we're the same. We're both Italian primarily, and we have a lot of things like family issues we can talk about. And sex is great with him, and I've actually started like pushing him off onto my family members. I'm like, here's Judas, and here's Gio, and I'm like, you're a good guy. I know you're gonna treat them well. He doesn't like lube though.
Oh boy, yeah.
He thinks he can just go straight in.
Spit? Does he spit it out? No.
He thinks that you're pre-lubed and you come there pre-lubed. I'm like, I'm not traveling from Brooklyn to Harlem with lube in my butt.
Yeah. Between your cheeks and shit.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your house.
It's not really a house. It's just a lot of my friends. So I started doing porn first, and a lot of my friends, New York's hard. New York's very expensive. The average rent's between like $2,000 to $3,000. And everyone has like day jobs. It's just when they started noticing I was traveling more and I was becoming a little bit more comfortable, they started getting interested in it, and they said, do you mind if I take your last name? Because finding a name in porn is hard. Yeah. You have to be creative. And
because some people, if you give them, if you don't give it any thought and you're not serious, you have a name and you're kind of stuck with it, especially if you became popular. And I've seen too many times.
I can't talk. I'm not going to name names, but there's some people, they name themselves after stuffed animals and toys. Oh, God. And I'm like, so now you're getting called this name in the street by people. You didn't think about it, and now it's sticking with you. Yeah. Some of them don't even have my name, but they're still part of like our little like group.
Like your clique and not clique. Clique sounds negative in my opinion. It's more like a.
Well, we are very tight.
What's like a fetishy thing that you like to do?
One of my first fetishes was like dad-son role play. Okay. When I was younger. Now it's evolving. I'm only 30. I'm turning 31 in a couple days, and there's a whole new crop of gays. So it's like I feel like everyone's 25 now. There's a whole group of 25-year-olds now that are out, and they're like calling me daddy. Like, oh, my heart hurts. I'm only 30. But one of my first fetishes was dad-son fetish because I was really into older guys when I was younger, and I still am.
Does that evolve? Like now that you're going into your 30s, when you think of older guys,
They're still getting older.
40, 50s?
Yeah.
Okay,
they're
so
still-
it evolves with you.
I lost my virginity to a 55-year-old when I was 14.
Wow.
Yeah, but I was also a fat kid. I was, 200 plus pounds. I had facial hair, had body hair. I was the problematic bad person in that situation. It was not the guy's fault.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you kind of like,
I was like, yeah, I'm 18.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's different.
Yeah, and I also
He didn't
looked
know,
18.
and-
I was also sneaking into the Eagle at that age, so it's like
Okay.
it's not his fault. Like,
Damn. Okay. Good
Yeah.
for you. You got a story behind that.
yeah, no, but daddies are always. It's nice for me to be held sometimes, and daddies know what they're doing, and
Do you find yourself in a big brother role?
a lot. Yes, that's why I feel like my relationship is with a lot of the people a lot of the grants. So like, I worry about them all the time, and I'm stressed about them all the time, and I'm trying to make sure like their lives are together, and I'm like, but yeah, it's a good role for me because I just filmed with like Will Angel and Liam Angel,
Okay.
and they're really big into the dad son role play and trying to find where I fit in, because what they do is they create like a pack,
Okay.
and like trying to figure out where I fit in that like pack situation kind of thing,
Like an uncle or
yeah,
or
I
a
was-
nephew.
He kept like calling me like I'm a baby daddy. He's like, you're too young, like you're not too young, but you're young, so like
You
but
are.
have like a dad role, and he's like you assume that position a lot, like you want to make sure everyone's like settled and.
See,
Okay.
I can see you being a dad at 31 if you like the way I think of it too is, or the way I kind of rationalize all of it is, okay, maybe I'm 31, right? And I could have had a baby at like 14 or 15.
In real life,
Yeah, in real life, IRL, as I heard the other day, which is another thing. I was
I'm a
like,
horror.
what?
I can't speak in
Yeah, today.
today's talk.
No, yeah,
but
me neither.
it doesn't bother me as much. It's just sometimes I'm like, when someone's like closer in age to me and they're calling me daddy, I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
dude, you're 28. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm 2 years older than you. You were like a sophomore when I was a senior.
I
Chill out.
had a model call me daddy, and he's like 28, 29, and I just turned 39, and I'm like, listen, let me at least get in my 40s,
Bitch.
and eventually call me daddy. Like this is,
Yeah, no.
I feel big brotherish right now.
That's a
in
good
my-
role. Like,
yeah.
I like it's like a stepping stone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you got to let me get there first. You know, what is one thing that your fans may not know about you that you would like them to know about you? Because part of this podcast is demystifying the idea that when they see you, they can walk up to you and just be like, "Oh, let me jerk you off," or "Let's have sex," or whatever.
That's the thing. So it goes kind of with that roommate thing. Automatically, when you do porn, everyone thinks you're a freaking slut, and they're like, and that's not a bad thing. Being liberal
I've met some
and free,
sluts, but yeah.
it's great, good for you. But like, I'm not doing 4 sex parties in a day, and I'm not really proud of how many loads I took on a Tuesday. So I'm not a boring person. I like my comforts, and I like being home. Yes, I like to go to sex parties occasionally, but I'm not living sex party to sex party, and I'm not like, oh my god, there's a sex party tomorrow, let's go. I'm like, I also like to eat. I'm Italian. So
Yeah, I
so
feel
like
you.
being bottom ready all the time is really hard. It's also the summer and I'm hairy, and I need a little bit of foreplay. I like a little bit of ass eating, and also I like to do that too. So
Yeah. You said something the other day that really struck me, which was, and I don't even think you thought I was listening, but it's interesting to me. You talked about a model and their thighs. And then you said, I would love to have him sit on my face with his thighs. I don't even need to do anything. I just want him to, I want to feel his thighs on me.
I love thick legs. That's actually one of the things like me and my roommate talk about a lot. Is like we just love like juicy legs and like thick legs. Like it's hot, it's sexy. Like just imagine like just big thighs on your face and just eating ass and like.
So you can literally you can come by having somebody.
I did a scene like that once
Okay.
where like we couldn't. It wasn't so. Sometimes in porn, scenes aren't fluid. There's breaks, and you have to like reposition cameras and change positions. So it sometimes takes the sexy element out of porn. So it's like, so in order to come, sometimes it's hard, especially when you're doing like one that has like a million breaks. And we actually ended up doing a scene where the guy was straddling my face and just like pretty much suffocated me with his ass cheeks. And I came that well. He was also playing my nipples and suffocating me with his ass, and it was really hot.
Sweet.
But I love eating ass. Eating ass that's clean and someone who takes care of their ass. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, my roommate recently kind of introduced me into he like bit on my cheek the first time, and I freaked out. I was like, "You don't bite my hole." I was like, "I need that shit to be sensitive." But then I started getting into it, and I was like, little love nibbles, like little like love bites. It's kind of sexy now, and like I try incorporating it now, and I'm like, please don't freak out. I want to try.
Okay.
But yeah, I love eating ass. I love thighs, big thighs. I wish my thighs would get bigger. Keep doing so many squats. It's not happening for me, but
I see that I am encroaching on some of your scene time. You have a scene coming up now.
Yeah, super excited. Doing another scene for Champ Robinson's website. Can't wait. It's going to be a 3-way, I think.
Yeah, I got to thank Champ for letting me use his dining room
His beautiful studio.
while we're in beautiful New Orleans for Southern Decadence. I forgot to mention that.
Love it.
But I want to thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
here.
This is my first podcast I've ever been on. I was kind of nervous. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say or what the talking points are going to be.
Yeah.
But
Well,
thank you.
you kind of just you walk into them as you're in it. So it's I hope it was cool.
Completely great. Thank you so much for
No
having me.
problem. You've been watching Demystifying Gay Porn. I am your host, Ike Grande. Demystifying Gay Porn can be found on every podcast directory as well as YouTube. Demystifying Gay Porn is on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Telegram. If you like what you're watching and want to be a part of the process, head over to patreon.com/demystifyinggayporn, where you can help this YouTube channel and I can continue making content like this. Once again, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. Cheers.